Hi everyone, welcome to the Diary of a Hyperactive Crafter. My name is Melissa and I'm coming to you from Springboro, Ohio, which is about 45 minutes north of Cincinnati. Today is Thursday, June 27th, and I have so much stuff to share with you guys today. Over the last couple weeks, I went to Stitchcon, I went to a few concerts, lots of work stuff, and got quite a bit of crafting in. So I am very excited to share all of it with you. I have several new starts. I have a few old whips, not old whips, but I have a few whips. I have a knitting finished object, a knitting whip. I have some bags that I finished sewing, acquisitions, all the fun stuff. So I am just going to jump right in and get started. My husband is home today. He is outside and he can't hear me, but it's still a little awkward recording with him home. He doesn't have game night tonight. And so I'm trying to get this video recorded so that we can do some fun stuff tonight. So anyway, let's just jump right in, shall we? So I have two whips that I have worked on cross-stitching wise. And before I show any of these projects, I'm just gonna say, I haven't had a whole lot of cross-stitching time. A lot of the crafting time I've had recently has been devoted to knitting because we have been watching some TV shows that have subtitles in them and I cannot cross-stitch and read at the same time. So if there was a way to do it, I would do it. But that being said, so I have had more knitting progress than cross-stitching progress. But I have told my husband that after the show we're watching is done, we need a show that does not have a bunch of subtitles so that I can actually get some cross stitch in. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first project that I put, I don't know, 800 stitches in is Cancer Rainbow. This does not look much different than when I showed it last time, but I did work on it. So I figured I would go ahead and show off my progress. I just did a bunch more pink in there. This has 13,000 stitches in it. I can't tell you, if I had to guess, I think I have about 2,000 done maybe. So this is a project that I'm really hoping to spend some quality time with over the next couple weeks. And if you watched my last video, you'll saw I spilt water on this, and I was actually, I think I mentioned it in my video, but I was actually talking to a few friends about it at Stitchcon, talking about how lucky I was that the water was just in the top corner. Because had it hit these bright pink silk flosses, we would have had some bleeding issues. So I got very, very lucky there. And so I laid it out to dry. It was dry within like an hour or two because it's been very hot in Ohio, and it was good to go. So again, Cancer Rainbow, I'm gonna put up a photo of the project. I will try to put the information on the screen because I don't have some of the patterns I'm going to show today. I don't remember who they're by. So as I go, I'll pop photos up on the screen. And of course, if you have any questions over anything that I show, feel free to put a comment below and I will respond to it as soon as I can. Happy to share any information that I have about anything that I show because I tend to forget to tell you some of the information. So the next project I'm going to show, I lovingly refer to as my Therapy Tuesday project. It is a project that I'm making for my therapist as a thank you for all of, sorry, all my stuff just fell over. As a thank you for all of the work we've done over the past several years. She has quite literally helped me change my life. So I'm very grateful for her and I wanted to show her a little bit of my appreciation. She's huge into nautical themes and she loves the ocean. So this project, I believe I got it on Etsy and it's called You Can Never Cross the Ocean Without Having Courage to Lose Sight of the Shore, which is the exact saying that's on the cross stitch. So the name is what's on the cross stitch. Making this on 18 count Aida. 2/1 using DMC floss, and really only got some of this A done right here. I think I got like 100 stitches in on this. It's a very pathetic work. However, it's kind of pathetic. However, I did work on it, so I wanted to show it. Hopefully next Tuesday I can get more in. I just kind of worked on this while we were watching Jeopardy before we started watching our subtitled show. I did forget to mention for Cancer Rainbow, I am making this with Bestitch Me silk flosses. And then this is also on Bestitch Me fabric. This is 20 count, 2/1 in the vanilla latte colorway. So there's that. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. I'm the worst. That brings me to Stitchcon starts, which I will talk more about Stitchcon later on in the video. But for now, just wanted to kind of show you the projects that I've started. So this first one is my first Mirabilia, and I'm probably going to say Mirabilia wrong 500,000 times over the course of the next however many videos. So please forgive me, because that word just does not roll off the tongue very well. So anyway, Mirabilia, this is the Nightingale pattern. And can I just tell you, when I first saw people stitching Mirabilias and Fancy Ladies, I was like, I really don't get it, because the pictures just are not great. I'm not a big fan of the fabrics they typically use, not a big fan of the pictures, but when you finally see one in person, let me tell you, these patterns, these finished objects, these whips, they are fabulous. They're gorgeous. They're worth every single penny. And I've been intimidated to start one for about the past year, just because it just feels like a big commitment, right? It's called a Fancy Lady for a reason. It's super fancy. And so I guess I was just too intimidated to start. And I mentioned this on one of my videos, and my friend Levi, WTF Knitting, was like, hey, we're gonna start one at Stitchcon. So we did. And I picked Nightingale. We both are doing Nightingale. Let me see if I can roll out the fabric to kind of like, whoop, there we go. That's what I have done, and I'm pretty sure I was showing it the wrong way. Pretty sure this is the orientation. I got about 300 stitches in, not much of a start. I can show you kind of sort of on the pattern. So I'm in like this part of her dress up here with the flowers, and somebody at my table said, I really like the flowers, and I was like, what flowers? They're like, this right here is a flower. So there's my start. Working on this, it's been a lot of fun. I am so glad. I think last time we talked about this, I was worried about my color choices. So I did like a little floss toss here, which I need to put all these back in my master set, because I pulled them to work on at Stitchcon. But I did like a little floss toss with my fabric, because I really wanted to use this fabric, but I was kind of worried about some of these blues clashing. And let me see if I can pull one out to show you the blues, because the fabric is more of like this tealy color. There really is there's a lot of contrast here. So there really is no clashing, which is good, because I really, really, really wanted to use this fabric. This fabric is Bestitch Me. Nope, just kidding. This one is not Bestitch Me. This is Picture This Plus Belfast linen, and it's on 32 count. And I bought, I believe, half a yard, and I cut it. And so I have another piece of this that I can use for another project. When I started this, I started it, again, I'm showing it the wrong way. Who can tell at this point, right? But when I started this, I started the wrong orientation. So I guess it is like this. Maybe it's, there we go. I think this is more accurate. Maybe, I don't know. What I will say is I started the wrong orientation. Nope, this isn't the project I did that on. Just forget everything I just said. Pretend that I know what I'm talking about. So that was my first Stitchcon start. I'm using DMC flosses. I do have the beads. I have a few of the fancy flosses. I don't think there was many in here, and some of them they didn't have when I purchased. So I do have the Krynic and the Water Lily, but I think I am missing something, but I will cross that bridge when I come to it. This is in my, oh, you guys didn't get to see this. So I finished this bag. I made a couple of these bags, one for me and one for Levi. These are Nightingales. So our Mirabilia Nightingale project goes in our Mirabilia bag. So I love this bag so much. That was my Thursday Stitchcon start. So day one. And I got about 300 stitches. I started 3 things and I got about 300 stitches on each of them. So my day 2 Stitchcon start is No Time Like the Present, Modern Folk Embroidery. It's their 2024 style. And I grabbed 2 of the same colors. So for this project, I am using Roxy Flossco. One says Leon Roxy, one says Roxy Flossco. I think they just changed their name. So these are the 2 colors that I chose. This one is called Hussy and this is called Vampish. And they had like these thread packs. It's called the Meant to Be collection. And I bought a couple of those thread packs for this project. And the fabric that I'm using is Bee Stitch Me Huckleberry 40 count. And I'm doing 2/1. And this is my start. So this is the fabric. It's super wrinkled. As you can tell, I had it in a Q-snap. And there's where I'm at. I like my little calcifer needle minder on there. So again, about 300 stitches. This is the one where I started it in the wrong orientation. I was about 100 stitches in when I realized I had started it this way, and then I had to rotate and flip it this way. So what I'm really excited about this pattern is that you use 2 colors, but the fabric itself acts as a color in and of itself. So I'm really excited to get some more work on this and kind of be able to see the contrast in this bigger sections of the fabric and the floss. But overall, I think this is gonna look super cool. So that was start number 2 on Friday. And this lives in another me-made bag. Told you, one day, all these bags are gonna be me-made bags. So this one, I made these for Levi and myself as well because we started this project together. And it's called No Time Like the Present. So what's more fitting than some clocks? And I love these zippers so much. Anyway, there's that project. Okay, my next project is something I should have started 2 years ago, but I just started it. I lovingly refer to this as my friendship Sal, because this is one of the first kitted up patterns that my friend Levi gifted to me. It's called Honeybee by Blackbird Designs. And the idea behind it is he stitched 2 of these on a piece of fabric, and then I'm going to stitch 2 of these on my piece of fabric, and we're going to cut them and sew them together, and we'll each have a finished object that is basically a friendship project that we both worked on. So it's going to be super cool. The floss is called for floss. I believe it's Gast. Gentle Arts, let me see. Yep, Gentle Arts. And he gave me these really cute floss straps. These are called Be Inspired, and it's from It's So Emma Stitchery. And there's all the flosses. And then the fabric is Fiber on a Whim Peony, 32 count, 2/1. And there's my little start. Got my little flower started. So it's not much of a start, but hey, this is better than what it was the last couple years, right? So this is going to be a pretty quick stitch, I think, if I just sit down to work on it. There's not a whole lot of stitching time involved in this. So I think that I could potentially hopefully finish both pieces by the end of summer. That would be one of my goals. And I'm not sure who this project bag is by, but it was also gifted by Levi as part of that friendship style. And then my last new start is Summer Quaker by Rosewood Manor. Show to my whip parade. I have winter and autumn started. That being said, Levi and I one year had decided that on the solstice/equinox we were going to start that corresponding season, and we did that for autumn and winter, and then by the time it got to spring we didn't do it. So we're trying to get back on track here. We completely skipped over spring, and I think for both of us, it's a beautiful piece, but for both of us, spring is both of our least favorites. So we get a little distracted. But summer is both of our favorites. So we went ahead and decided to start this for the summer solstice, which I thought it was always on the 20th. It's on the 21st. Levi had ordered some stuff, so I decided I was going to wait until he got his stuff in the mail to get started. So we just started this past week, and this is what I have. So there we are. I did show this on Instagram. I'll pop up a picture of, I had a whole setup outside and I realized, and I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, but I realized going to Stitchcon and then trying to stitch outside, I am a very high maintenance stitcher. I need all the tools in order to get the job done. So this fabric is called for Valdani floss. I want to say this is probably, oh, look, sticker. This is a 28th count, and it's Truffle by Picture This Plus. It's linen. And I love working on this. I absolutely love it. I love seeing the color variations and the flosses. The biggest problem I have with working on this is there's so many color changes. And so I spent probably 4 hours on this and didn't get very far, but I did put up a picture on Instagram. And if you saw that, you'll see that this bird is missing its tail because I was off and I had to like frog some of that out. And then I frogged these because I thought they were supposed to be specialty stitches. And then I realized they were not supposed to be specialty stitches. They are supposed to be as is. And so I frogged them for no reason. So I did a lot of stitching and restitching on this one. So here are the flosses. They're Valdani flosses. I prefer to put mine on floss straps. And I am using one strand of this floss because it is a 3-ply floss. So I'm using one strand on 28 count. And I absolutely adore the texture that gives. I don't know if you can kind of see from the side. I love the coverage. So I am very happy with that. And right now it lives in my bag with my other Quaker projects, but I think I'm gonna eventually make each of these their own special little home because they deserve it. And the bag's getting pretty full. So I will be working on this throughout summer. My goal on this one is to finish one page before we start back on Autumn Quaker. And I'm very excited to work on Autumn Quaker because I think that Summer Quaker is my favorite for obvious reasons because it's pink and it's cute. They're all cute. But also lately, within the past like 3 or 4 years, I have become a huge fall girl. So I think that it's super exciting that I have 6 months where I'm working on my 3 favorites. And then winter is just, I mean, they're all pretty. They're all pretty. Winter is gorgeous. It is like delicate, and I'm excited to work on winter too. So anyway, we'll see if we can keep it going and actually start spring next year. But that's a long-term plan. Didn't bring it up with me and I didn't pull the kit, but I do want your guys' opinion on something. I have been starting a lot of stuff recently and I have more that I want to start. So, but I also really have some that really only one that I really need to finish. I really need to work on this and finish it. And also my Therapy Tuesday project. So I think what I'm going to do for a couple weeks or a couple videos, I guess, is ask your guys' opinion on what my next start should be. Instead of starting all the things, I'll just start like once every 2 to 4 weeks-ish. That's the plan anyway. Can't guarantee how many other starts I will have in between, but anyway, so my last regular video where I actually had acquisitions, I showed you some stamped cross stitch kits that I got from Oriola. I will double check that information. Anyway, I go back and watch that video if you have not already. Take a look at those stamped cross stitch kits in my acquisition sections. Because I either want to start one of those or I want to start Deadly Aquarium. So Deadly Aquarium is a sal, but in my opinion, I love her sals. I've never made one, but I love the look of them. It's by Lola Crow Studio. Everybody is working on it. And I really want to start it, but I feel like her sals go way too quickly. I feel like she has a lot of stitching in her clues, and the clues are released, I believe, weekly. And I know, just because I have so many other sals started, I know that I'm not going to keep up on it. So I know that what I'm trying to say is I know I'm not going to stitch it as a sal. I'm probably gonna, yeah, just add it to the whip pile where it probably is gonna go to die. But that being said, I do want to at least start the border. So I want you guys to tell me in the comments below if you think that I should start one of the stamped cross stitch kits that I purchased, or if I should start Deadly Aquarium Sal. And yeah, so let me know in the comments below. And then whichever one has the most comments when I'm in the mood to start something, that is the one I will start. Yeah, so there's that. So knitting, I'm going to talk a little bit about knitting. I know this is going to be a shorter video, but I have a lot to do this evening. So I want to make sure that I can get this up and that I can kind of like finish talking about all the stuff I've done over the past 3 weeks so that I can start fresh, because this has all been jumbled in my brain. Anyway, let's go. Let's keep going. So I have a knitting FO. If you've been watching, if this is your first video, you don't know, I have been working through making 3 fuzzy blankets. I had bought 3 blanket quantities of Fable Fur yarn from Knit Picks in December, and they were sitting in boxes in my morning room because I have the room to bring them up here, but I didn't want to bring them up here. I just wanted to knit them and have them done. So I finished one a couple weeks ago, and then I finished another one in between. I think I showed it as a whip on my last video. So I'm going to pop the photo up here. It's too big. It's hot. I don't want to bring it up here with me and have it all over me. But it is different than the first one I showed. The first one, they look very similar. The first one was like a dark gray, and this one's like a grayish green. So I did finish the second one, which means I'm working on the third one, which I did bring up here with me just for you guys. Let me tell you, these things, I did not realize how much they shed, but they shed like crazy. So just a fair warning if you're using Fable Fur, to the point where I have the big gray one on my couch downstairs, and I think it's gonna come to live up here as like just a decorative blanket because I can't stand it's like worse than cat hair. Every time I get up, I'm lint rollering. So the other 2 are going to be gifts for other people who don't mind fuzz as much. Anyway, I'm going to sneeze. Here is the third blanket. So I not only started this, I got quite a bit of the ways through. I mentioned that my husband and I have been watching Shogun, which it has a lot of Japanese dialogue. So there's a lot of English subtitles. Because unfortunately, as much as my grandpa tried to teach me, I do not know Japanese enough to fluently speak it, nor read it, nor listen to it. So anyway, I have to read the English subtitles. It's a very good show, by the way. It has very much Game of Thrones vibes, if you like that kind of stuff, without less of the fantastical, mystical, like dragons. There's no dragons, essentially. No dragons. But it's really good. Which, I mean, honestly, what's the point of watching Game of Thrones without the dragons? We won't get into that. Let's get back to the task at hand, shall we? Knitting whips. I have, I think, 3 more skeins to put into this blanket, and it'll be done. So this will be an FO on my next video, which if you are a cross stitcher and you are here for the content, the cross stitching content, you will be happy to know, because this is my last one. And when this is done, I am taking another break from knitting because I'm over it. That's so bad. All I have wanted to do is cross stitch, but then I put this, not timeline, but pressure on myself to knit a skein a day. And I was very good about telling myself, you don't have to knit a skein a day, but then I ended up knitting a skein a day. So that's all I was doing. If I had an hour of crafting time and that was it for the day, I was knitting instead of cross stitching. And recently, because we've been watching that show, I'm ahead technically by my 1 skein a day. Technically, I am into next Thursday. Which means that I could technically not even pick that up at all until next Thursday. But we have 3 episodes left. I have 3 balls of yarn left. my goal is to have that blanket finished before we finish the show. And then whatever we watch next, I can cross stitch too. So hopefully my next video will have way more stitches in the projects versus this video. So that is it for my whips. I am going to get into acquisitions, which will kind of merge in with some Stitchcon talk. And then, yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so I'm going to start. So some of these I've had for a while now, as far as like, I'm going to show you some tools that I took with me to Stitchcon. And then I've also been using these tools to stitch outside with. Only 2 of them are actually new out of the 3. Let me just get into it, shall we? Oh, I actually got this for last year's Stitchcon. This is, I have a Lowry stand, and this is the Lowry clamp that is like a table clamp, right? So when they came out with this last year, I purchased it to take with me to Stitchcon, and I just used this side clamp. Although I did commute from home and I was having problems with the side clamp on one of my projects. So my husband came down to have dinner with us, and I asked him to bring my corner clamp, and I much prefer that for Q-snaps. I do not like the side clamp for Q-snaps. I typically reserve this for use with my projects that are on scroll frames, because I use the large scroll frame adapter for the stand, and then I hook this to that. So this side clamp really is probably the only time I'll use it is that. Anyway, this is the table clamp from Lowry. It works well for Stitchcon. I did sign up. I'll talk about it in a minute. I did sign up for another retreat in November. So I love using this at the retreats. And this year, my friend Spencer had little pictures of her kikis made, and she had some stickers. She had some that you could turn into floss drops, and then she had these ones that you turn that are stickers, and I put them on there. So anytime I use this, I'm gonna see her cute little kikis. Anyway, so what was I gonna say about this? Oh, so this is wonderful. We recently got a new patio table, and it is metal, and I cannot use this clamp on that table because it will dent it. So my friend had the K's Creation Z lap stand, and I was kind of looking at it, and I've been looking at it for like a year now. I was like, because I thought about getting it to like stitch in bed with or something like that. Because again, high maintenance stitcher, I need a stand because I like to stitch two-handed. I do not like holding projects in hand. In the frame or not, I prefer to have it in a stand of some sort. So I did purchase one of these, and I think I purchased this like before it's been almost a month now, I think. And so this just sits, maybe it's been only 2 weeks. I don't remember. Either way, I purchased it before Stitchcon, and so I just sit this on my table outside, and then I put in my Q-snap. And but this has the same issue that I have with the side clamp on my Q-snaps, right? So I just don't think that side clamps are a good option for Q-snaps because you can't really get them in there so that they stay tight and they don't move a lot. This is great. It works for what I intend it to work for. It could be better. I know that this is intended to be sat on for leverage. I have thick thighs. Like there's never a world in which I will be sitting on this and be able to stitch. So this is always going to be sitting on the table for me. And because of that, and these little levers that you can adjust over here, it tips. So I do have to make sure that I set something heavy on the base so that as I'm stitching, I'm not pulling it over. And right now, this is how I would have it for my direction. So I'm showing it to you the opposite of what I would have it. So right now, like if I'm stitching and there's nothing on it, like I'm pulling it towards me because of the way I stitch. So I do have to sit something heavy on it. The other thing is because this is right here on the left side, and I could switch it so it's on my right, but that would get in my way even more. But because this is on the left side and I stitch two-handed, I'm constantly like having to maneuver around it because I do left hand on top and right hand underneath. And I'm constantly having to like squish my hand over onto the project to work where I need to work, especially like if I'm in the corner or the side area. So it does kind of get in my way. And then also these don't stay tight, so you can get them fairly tight, but they do loosen up over time. All of this is not a problem because I will be using this outside during the summer, spring, fall, when I'm stitching for a couple hours at a time. It's not like I'm going to be using this for 12 hours a day to stitch. I love this for what its intended purpose is. So I did buy this on Etsy, Kay's Creations. I think it's called a Z-frame stand, lap stand. I'm not sure. A lot of people have this. A lot of people have talked about it. I love it. There are benefits and negatives to both systems. So my preference, my number one top preference is the full Lowry stand. I love it. Stand by it 100%. I will say that when I first got it, I was disappointed because I was like, oh, this isn't very comfortable. I can't, there's a lot of knobs. I was like, this doesn't really feel comfortable. What I will say is with the Lowry stand, you really have to adjust it to suit you. And there are a lot of different options and levers and everything. So you have to get it in the position that works for you. And once you do, you're going to love it. I will say with the Lowry stand, if you're planning on purchasing one, if you purchase just the standard without the extended bar, that standard bar that it comes with is meant to sit in like a regular chair like this. It's not meant to sit next to a couch or a chair with like a big arm. You will either need the extended bar, and even sometimes that's not enough. I had to custom order one from, and I think I said Stanley, I meant Lowry. I get them mixed up all the time. I had a custom order one straight from Lowry, where I told them how many inches width I needed and how many inches height I needed for my specific couch. And I just took a tape measure and sat down and kind of measured where I wanted it to go. But if you are doing that, I would just recommend you keep in mind that the clamp does add length to that because this can slide out. So you don't need to order the bar exactly to where it's sitting right in front of you. But when you are ordering it, you basically want to measure from where the base is going to sit to where you want that project to line up with your body. So I would want mine right off to the side so that when I have my frame, it's directly in front of me. So I hope that that made sense. I love my Lowry stand downstairs. I have the correct bar length and height and width, or whatever you want to call it, that I need. I have a light bar, and I have a Go-Go Gadget light bar attachment that has a magnifying glass and a light. Yeah, I really love my Lowry. Okay, and then this, I did buy while I was at Stitchcon and had it shipped to me overnight. It was, I think I bought it at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and was at my house by 5 a.m. the next morning. So this is a magnifying light system. So I had one last year that I bought off of Amazon that I used at Stitchcon that was absolutely horrible. And when I got back, I returned it. So at this year, Levi had one and I was like, okay, what is that one? Cause that's the one I want. Found a similar one on Amazon, ordered it, came the next day. So, if you want the link to this, I can put it in there because unfortunately I do not remember the name. I did just Google it on Amazon. But again, if you want the link, comment below. I'll throw it in the comments. This is great because it has this heavy base. So this is, again, dual purpose because I can use this when I'm outside stitching on my patio table. High maintenance stitcher, I need a light and a magnifying glass for anything that's over like 14 count. And also it has this little screw here. You can pop this out. It has like a bar, you can pop it out, and it comes with a table clamp. So for my purposes of sitting outside, I obviously use the base, which is fairly heavy, so that if you had to adjust it, pull it out, whatever, it's not tipping. But it also goes into the clamp, which the table clamp is what I used at Stitchcon. So this is a great investment, and I think it was less than $40. I want to say it was between $30 and $35. So highly recommend this. I have like a bigger, more heavy duty, bigger magnifying glass, brighter magnifying glass in my actual stand itself. And I think it's from like the Electric Light Company or something. That's probably wrong because ELO is clearly a band. It doesn't make lights, but it's like the lighting company or something like that is where that one's from. Okay, so that is it for the tools of the trade, I guess. So this first one was a table gift from my friend Spencer and her mom, Kim. And I got a lot of goodies from Stitchcon, but I'm not going to show them all today. Most of them I put away, at this point, but this one was a super cute idea. So they made this little kit with these little bags that Kim made. The little drawstring bags are super cute. And then they, excuse me, they got these little patterns. And I believe they said that these were ink circles patterns. So they gave you these little patterns. And they did such a good job. On the back is the actual pattern itself. So I'm not going to show that to you. But they even printed like little pictures of what it's going to turn out to look like. They gave you the little plastic canvas for them. And they gave us, I should say, all of the floss to do them with. Hang on, come on. Look at that. How cool is that on these little floss cards? So cool. And they even gave you the little keychain adapter, because you are supposed to turn these into little keychains, or you can turn them into little keychains, zipper pulls. So they cut out all these little pieces. Like, I can't. So I am very excited. This is super cute, super thoughtful. I think it's an adorable little like kitted up project. So my plan is to have this finished before Stitchcon next year, or maybe even, so mentioned it. I signed up for a retreat in November called Stitching in the Springs in Yellow Springs, Ohio. So I will be there. I'm staying at home because it's pretty close to me. It's further away than Stitchcon is, but it's not too far that I want to spend the money for a hotel. So I'm going to save my money, spend it on acquisitions and food for the weekend, and drive back and forth to go home every night. But maybe I'll make it a goal to have these finished before I go, because Kim, Spencer's mom, I know for sure is going. I think Spencer's going to look into her schedule and Levi's looking into his schedule, but I know for sure that me and Kim are going to be there. So the plan is to hopefully have these done by Stitching in the Springs, and if not, I'll have it done before Stitchcon next year. So look at me already making assumptions that I'm going to get off the waiting list and get in, because y'all know I forget to sign up every year. Doesn't matter how many freaking reminders I have or how many people text me. So this next acquisition was a gift from Levi, and he's been really into finding like these vintage cross stitch kits on eBay, which I think is very cool. And he found one that he came across that he thought I would like, and I 100% agree with him. I love it. So this is called, this is from Try Me Designs, and it's cool because she has different like stitching techniques in each of her little patterns. And he found this little penguin. Look at that. Isn't that cute? And it comes with all the little specialty floss that you need for it. And all of the instructions down here. So it's a really cute, I think it's just a really teeny pattern. It doesn't look like it's that big. I was trying to see if it had like the dimensions on here, but I don't think that it does. Oh yeah. Approximate stitching size is 4 1/4 by 5 5/8. So it has 84 by 112. So it's a little cute little just penguin pattern. I love it. And it even came with the fabric. I don't know if it came with the fabric or if he provided this fabric, but it's this pretty little light blue fabric, and it's super soft. I have no idea like any of the project information outside of its Sue Linty needlework, and then it's the Try Me Designs. Simple designs that introduce you to new fibers and or new stitches by Sue Linty Needlework. So very cute, very cool. I love penguins, so this is an extremely thoughtful gift. So thank you, Levi. Hopefully it won't take me 3 years to start this one. He's like, girl, I'm not giving you anything else because you never start it. So that leads us to what I actually purchased at Stitchcon, which this first one I didn't purchase. It's just the other fat quarter to my Mirabilia project, which I will use for something else. We're talking about doing a round robin project and kind of sort of ripping off, you know, the, what are they? There's a whole bunch of them. There's like Megan the Seattle Stitcher and the Museum Stitcher and like Kim the Stitcher and like all these people, all these amazing people do these round robins, and they're really cute and cool. So me and a few friends were talking about doing one. Don't think we decided on all the details, but the idea is to do one. And one of we do have some accessibility issues with being able to see certain counts of fabric. So all of that is going to be like stipulated in the rules, I guess. So we did choose to do 14 count, which I have no problem. I will stitch on any count fabric any day of the week. So I got a 14 count Ada, and this is Atomic Ranch in the Freeze, F-R-I-E-Z-E, Freeze colorway. And I got a big purple hair on it. Go me. Anyway, so here it is. And I got it because I just loved the grungy kind of look of it. I love the modeling. I love the pink with the greens and the browns and the grays. And we're all planning on picking our own colors. So I thought that this would be good to show off like any of the colors that we pick, but it wasn't too like in your face bold to prevent you to clash with any colors that anybody else picked. So it's like different enough that I don't have like this just plain black or plain white background, but it's not like too in your face colorful. And the next piece of fabric, all these are Atomic Ranch fabrics. This one is called Weathered Stone, and it's a fat quarter 40 count 26 by 35. And this one I got I'm having a hard time showing with lighting today, but a few months ago, around the time of Nashville Needlework Market, there was a pattern release called In Praise of Pollinators. So I purchased this to do that project on, and I picked this fabric because it had some, I'm tired of seeing like all these like really pretty springy patterns on gray fabric. It looks beautiful in the model, but I wanted to put it on something else. And this has like this grayish modeling in it, so I thought that this would be perfect for that project. So this will be thrown in with that project bag. And then this last one, I bought a pattern last year at Stitchcon called 7-fold, and I didn't realize that it wasn't big enough to fit on a fat, or the fat quarter wasn't big enough for it to fit on. So I purchased a piece of fabric last year. It's not going to fit on that fabric, and I committed to trying 46 count this year. So I did purchase, if I do this project on 46 count fabric, it will fit on a fat quarter with room to spare. So I purchased a Atomic Ranch Lavender fat quarter, and they marked 40 count, but this is definitely 46 count, because that's what I picked up and that's what I asked for. So this is 46 count Atomic Ranch Lavender, and hopefully at this point in time I have put up a picture of the actual pattern itself, because it is this beautiful purple geometric pattern that I think is going to look really, really cool on this fabric. So that'll be another planned start here. Probably, I'm hoping to start it this year. And while we're at it, I did purchase some patterns online while I was there, because I prefer to stitch using Pattern Keeper. So if I can find the PDF pattern, I normally do. So the same designer of the 7-fold pattern, I purchased a few more of their patterns, so hopefully they've been scrolling as I've been talking. Their designs are just so cool. I absolutely love them. The geometric, the colors, everything about them. Seeing them from person is so much better than the pattern pictures. However, the pattern pictures are really cool too. There's a project called 324 where it uses 324 colors of DMC. I want to do that one. In fact, I believe I've purchase fabric for it and it's on the way. So, and my husband just left, so we are free to talk about the other acquisitions. Probably gonna hear the garage door in a minute. Anyway, so there was one, wait for the garage door to finish closing. Okay. So there was one 123 stitch acquisition that has made it to my house in the past 3 weeks. There might be one more on the way. It's fine. Everything's fine. Life is great. So much for those student loans getting paid off early. Anyway, it's okay. Again, crafting supplies are part of my retirement plan. So it's just the stuff that I'm buying because I won't afford to be able to buy it when I retire. Which, by the way, my friends and I were calculating how many days to retirement, and they're a little more seasoned than I am. And it just, we'll just say it's a lot of days. So these glass seed beads that I needed for one of the other 500 projects I've kitted up in the past few months came back in stock on 123 Stitch. And as we know, beads can't travel alone. And so I noticed that the House Barn collection number 7 was out. So I went ahead and purchased that and the flosses for it. But again, I just don't think that it's not economically sound to just be mailing just this, right? So if you're gonna go through all those labor hours to send mail to your house, and there's gas involved and all this other stuff, you might as well just, kit up another project while you're at it that's in your wish list, right? It's just a small one. So another memorabilia. Go figure. I had 4 of these fancy ladies, like 2 are facing one direction and 2 are facing the other. And I had like this vision of like making them and having them all 4 like framed next to each other. So this is number 3. So I had, which one is this? Elizabeth. So I did Zelda, Persephone. I might have that wrong, but I think it's Zelda, Persephone. This one's Elizabeth. And then I just had Veronica. I just purchased Veronica and it's in the mail on its way to me. So I'm going to have a whole wall of Mirabilias. Anyway, so this is Elizabeth by Mirabilia, and she only requires 2 beads and no specialty flosses. So that's the reason why I picked her out of my wish list. So I purchased those 2 beads to go with her. And since she was so small, I also decided to try, I have a bunch of tools of the trade for beading. I have never done beading, but I have several projects that is going to be using beading, and I purchased beading needles and like a tacky bill already. However, I would like to try different things. So I bought some different beading needles so that I can try out a variety. And then I also, these ones are the DMC beading needles. And then I got this Bead-A-Lon mat. So I think this looks really cool. I can just set it on my couch arm next to me. And I also, like I said, I have like little CD case tacky bill, but I haven't used either yet. So I figured I'd use them both once I get that far, and then try them out and decide what what my favorite products are to use. So that is it for acquisitions. I have a few more bags to show. So I already showed the No Time Like the Present bag. I made one for me and Levi. The Nightingale bag, I made one for me and Levi. And then I made a few more. So I made this Alice in Wonderland bag. I made 2 of these, which sewing on this one wasn't the greatest, which is why I'm keeping this one. The other one is a little better. I really hate having to use, I probably in hindsight should have just used green for up here and down here. I hate using so many different colors, and I hate having to use something different up here than down here. But this printed fabric, it's directional, so I didn't have enough to cut out the 2 inches that's needed up here. And then I had problems with my zipper to the point where like I had to rip everything out and re-sew it back up because this came off after I sewed around, and then it caused like the whole thing to be like super crooked, and the zipper color doesn't match. So again, not incredibly happy with this bag. However, it works and it's functional. It's just not my favorite one. And if you look at it from the back, it's perfect. I think in hindsight, I probably should have just I had enough fabric to make 2 bags if I use contrasting. I think in hindsight, I probably should have just made one using this fabric for both the outside and inside. I think I would have been much happier with that. And knowing that I still have so much of the Tula Pink Alice in Wonderland collection that I want to turn into bags left, I'm going to keep that in mind for the future bags I make. But so silly. It's so like bizarro out there, just like Alice in Wonderland is in and of itself. And I love it. So I think what cracks me up are the crabs. I'm not sure why there's crabs in there. I don't remember crabs in the story, but I'm probably forgetting something. I don't know though. I've read it like 500 times. It's one of my favorites. So then the next bag that I made for myself and a couple friends. I made 3 of these actually. And it's a Schitt's Creek reference, which is actually kind of perfect because on Instagram today, I saw that there was a full coverage Schitt's Creek theme pattern. And I was like, hey, I have a Schitt's Creek bag. Of course, this is referencing the fold in the cheese scene, which is like one of the most iconic scenes from the show. And I had these zippers. Again, I'm struggling with my zippers being even across the top. So I've had some issues that I got to work out in the last couple batches of bags, but working on it. But I like the zipper had like the black and white stripes and it's rainbow. So I thought it was perfect since, you know, it's kind of, I think it's David-fied. Anyway, I will say I have one more bag to show, but I will say I kind of burnt myself out trying to rush through bags to get them done for Stitchcon. And so I think that that's why the next batch that I finished, which included these 2, well, these 5 really, because I made 2 of these and 3 of these, were kind of like not the quality that I want them to be, because I kind of wasn't in the mood. So because of that, I have some bags over here that are like ready to be sewn up. Like everything's done on them. They just need sewn. That I'm going to wait until the mood strikes because I don't want this to be something that I feel like I have to do or rush through, and then not happy with the quality. I want the finished object, but I also don't want the finished object at the expense of it just being like a disaster because I don't want to be doing it, if that makes any sense. But before I got to that point, this was another Stitchcon bag that I finished for myself and Spencer because she has, she's a Supernatural fan. She has a Supernatural project. I have a Supernatural project that I plan to start one day eventually. But anyway, so this is Supernatural. It's got Dean and Sam and Cass on there. And my favorite thing is Cass's face. He just looks so sad. I love Cass. It's got pie. Anyway, I love it. And then there's, you know, Sam, and Dean's got that smile on his face because of course he does. But anyway, I really like this. So I've got myself 3 more bags to add to my collection. I do have some bags right here from the last batch that I made. I don't know if you can see them right up there. And I need to go through and pick projects to put in each of these from these. I just haven't had time to like do any organization or anything like that. So I guess that's it, and we'll transition into life chatter before I have to go get some stuff done before my husband gets back. So it's been a busy couple of weeks. It's been a whirlwind. There's been a lot of things happening. It's just, I think the summer is just gonna shape up to be that way. I don't think I've ever been this booked up in my entire life because I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm in the mood to do everything and experience everything, but I'm also in the mood to just stay at home in my pajamas, and trying to find that balance has been really hard because there's so many fun things to do. So we had Stitchcon, which was wonderful. My table mates included Levi and Spencer, and Spencer's mom, Kim. I just keep referring to her as Spencer's mom, but we met them both at the same time at Stitchcon last year. Spencer's a little more my age, but I tend to be an older soul and connect with older generations. So I think that I get along with them both very well. They're both very strong, independent, interesting women. Spencer has a Flosstube called Stitching Spencer, so you should go check her out. And then Levi, of course, I love doing anything with him. He's just a blast, and people just naturally gravitate towards him. So he worked on Lady of the Flag for most of the weekend. He started a couple starts with me. So anyway, we just had a really good time. There were 2 other folks at the table, and I feel really bad because I cannot remember their names. But they traveled in from, I feel like it was Massachusetts potentially, but they're originally from Ohio. Anyway, they were at the table as well. And it was just, you know, it was really nice getting to sit and chat and stitch with everybody. Did a lot more talking than stitching. I did a little bit shopping, but I actually stayed way under budget, which is really surprising for me, hence the reason why I placed another 1-2-3 Stitch order when I got home. That and the fact that I want to bet from from Jason. So Jason and I had a bet going and I won, and part of that was I got $100 to spend on whatever I wanted. So I bought stuff off of 1-2-3 Stitch. And then the sucker tried to bet me again the next day, and I knew damn well he was wrong, and I didn't take it because I was like, I knew for a fact that I was going to win this one, and I would have, but I was like, I don't really want us to spend another $100. Our bets tend to always be $100. I don't know why. So I was like, I'm not going to bet you, but I'm just telling you this is the way it's going to be. And he's like, oh, bet. And I was like, no, I'm not going to bet you. And we didn't bet, but I could have very easily had another $100 to spend at 1-2-3 Stitch. I missed my opportunity. But anyway, so all of that to say, oh, Stitchcon. So Saturday, Jason and I did not go to Stitchcon on Saturday. Jason and I went up to Cleveland to see the Rolling Stones, which I'm going to look up the copyright laws. If I'm allowed to, I think I'll put up the video clips that I took from the concert. We are very much like 2-minute max video clip type of people. So whenever we go to concerts, we attempt to only record about like 1 to 2 minutes of the entire show. And typically those are some of our favorite songs from the artist. Outside of that, we try to keep our phones put away and just enjoy the time there. It's hard for me to go to a concert and see somebody recording the entire thing. I understand people recording clips of concerts because there are loved ones who maybe don't have the ability to go to the shows, whether that's a mobility issue or an affordability issue. So I know that they want to share that with their friends and family, and kind of like try to experience that with them. So I don't mind people taking clips of concerts. It does bother me when people like record the entire concert. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm like, put your phone down, we're trying to see. But it's fine. Fine. So anyway, the concert was great. If I'm allowed to, I'll put up a few clips from it. I just feel like these gentlemen sound the same as they probably did 40 years ago, and they are just outperforming themselves. Just a really cool experience. I'm so glad that I got to go. So the next thing that we want to save for, and I've been saying this for a while, is the Aerosmith tickets, because he is doing his farewell tour, and we haven't purchased them yet, mainly because he's going to be 3 different locations around us, and we haven't decided which location, which date, and how much we want to spend on the tickets, or how much we're willing to spend on the tickets. So we will be purchasing those. We will be going to see Aerosmith, just haven't purchased those tickets yet. So anyway, Saturday was concert, and then I came back to work, and then Sunday I went back to Stitchcon, and I was there until about noonish, and then I came back and I picked up Jason, and we drove to my dad's house, which is in southwestern Ohio, so we drove for like an hour and a half each way, so about 3 hours round trip, to have dinner with him for Father's Day. And then we drove back, and then I was off on Monday. Jason worked. I was off on Monday, which is a good thing I took Monday off, because I was shattered. I was completely exhausted from the weekend, and I ended up we had my mom and my stepdad over for dinner, for his Father's Day dinner, on Monday evening, and then I was back to work on Tuesday. Also Juneteenth week, meaning we had that Wednesday off of work. Looking back, I probably should have taken the Tuesday off, but I didn't want to spend my time on that Tuesday. And I thought, well, maybe I can get a head start on what I need to do for Thursday and Friday. And because I had been off Thursday, Friday, Monday before that Tuesday, I came back to a madhouse at work, and then I only had one day to get everything urgent taken care of before I had to go out again on Wednesday, because the company shut down on Wednesday. And then I walked back into it on Thursday. So I was talking to one of my bosses, and I was like, this week has just been crazy. And she's like, well, you had 2 Mondays. And I was like, I really did, because Tuesday was a Monday after a vacation, and then Thursday was a Monday after a big holiday. So I was cramming basically 2 weeks of work into 3 days, and it was not fun. So then last weekend, we were on Friday and Saturday, actually both days, we had planned to go see more laser shows. I mentioned before, the Boonshoft Museum, Children's Museum, does adult laser shows throughout the summer. And we were going to go see The Weeknd on Friday, and then we were going to see Prince on Saturday. Well, on Friday, the show was canceled, and I don't know if it's because the projectionist, the laserist, was sick or something else happened, or if they didn't get enough participation. I'm really hoping it's not because of the participation. So we were actually both, I told Jason, I said, if I'm being 100% honest, I'm actually kind of relieved that the show was canceled tonight, because we haven't been home on a Friday night in a long time, and I just want to sit at home and do nothing. I'm tired. And he was like, I didn't want to say anything, but me too. So we just ordered pizza and stayed home Friday night. Then Saturday, it was so nice outside, and I sat outside all day. It was wonderful. I believe I was doing sewing. I was doing some organization stuff. So I was wrapping up. Oh, I kitted up Summer Quaker. I did some more fabric gridding and cutting and ironing and things like that. I was basically outside all day. And Sunday night rolled around, and I was like, I really want to stay home. He's like, I really want to stay home too. So we stayed home Saturday night. And then Sunday, we had a Sunday night off, and we just kind of like watched movies. I mentioned we started Shogun, and we've been watching that. Oh, we watched both seasons of Dr. Death over the past couple weeks. So we've been watching a lot of TV together. So it was nice to just have a weekend at home, but that has bred the want to go out and do more stuff. So this week at work has been another crazy week because we had a big reorganization, and I have a new boss now. Tonight is Thursday. Then we have tonight, Jason was supposed to go game night, and it got canceled because a few of his friends can't make it. So we're going to finish Shogun tonight, which means I'm going to finish my blanket tonight. Tomorrow, I don't think we're going to do anything because we need another Friday night at home. We really enjoyed that. We may go to a laser show, but I can't remember who they're doing this week. So it'll depend on how we feel and if Jason wants to go. Saturday, Jason's going to a movie night with his friends. They do stupid movie night, and it's not like, oh, he's going to a stupid movie night again. It's, they find like the stupidest movies they can find, and then they just watch them laugh through it, and I think it's the greatest thing ever. This makes me wish I had more local friends, because we would, like, all my friends are like all over the place. We would do stuff like this all the time. But anyway, so tomorrow night he's going to be gone, which hopefully for me means a fun crafting night at home, which is why I'm trying to get this video done on a Thursday. And then Sunday, I think we're going to go to the zoo, because I woke up this morning and I saw an article saying there were 2 new pandas going to the San Diego Zoo. And don't worry, I'm not going to the San Diego Zoo on Sunday. But there's 2 new pandas coming to the U.S. And I was like, we need to plan a trip to the San Diego Zoo to see the pandas. And I thought of thinking the zoo, and was like, Cincinnati Zoo is like right down the street. We should go to the zoo because we haven't been in a really long time. So I think on Sunday we're going to make that happen. Yeah, so it'll be good. Then next week is 4th of July week. So we have the 4th off for work, and then we took the 5th off because on the 5th we're going to a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert. The 7th we're going back to see Brit Floyd, and then the following Friday we're going to see Train and REO Speedwagon. So going to be a busy couple of weeks. And then I think we have like 1 week where we don't have anything going on, and then we're going to a 311, AWOL Nation, and who's the other one? Neon Trees concert. And the next day we leave for Chicago. So it's going to be a very busy month. That being said, I'm not sure how much crafting I'm going to get in. I'm going to try to do as much as I can. But again, this is a hobby. It's not a job. So if I get enough in, I will come back and share updates with you. If not, I might not see you until July-ish timeframe, like the end of July, beginning of August timeframe. But I am still creeping around on the interwebs. So if you leave comments on the video or you message me on Instagram, which by the way, my Instagram name is Melissa, at Melissa_Lakowski. You can message me here. You can message me on Instagram, and I will chat with you guys. I've been watching Flosstubes. In my next video, I do plan to call out some of the Flosstubes I've been watching. I just haven't done that yet just because I've had so much other stuff to talk about. So that is it for today. Hopefully this is less than an hour and a half. And I hope you guys have a wonderful couple of crafting weeks. tag me on Instagram. I want to see what you're working on, or message me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. I'll follow you back because I want to build like that Instagram community. I want to see what you're working on, get inspired. Want to share what I'm working on. Yeah. Anyway, hope you guys have a great couple weeks, and I will see you soon. Bye. Also, don't forget to vote on the project that you want me to start. Do you want me to start Deadly Aquarium? Or do you want me to start one of the stamped cross stitch kits? Let me know. Bye.